Hello and welcome to my cooking tutorial! Today I'll be making pasta from scratch and I'll be teaching you all how to make some as well. This is my recipe and it's super easy and really delicious. It's a great alternative to buying store-made pasta and it tastes so much better. So with all that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Alright, to get started, we're going to need a pasta machine or a rolling pin or both. If you're serious about pasta, I recommend getting yourself a pasta machine with a little crank. It's really easy by hand, they're not too expensive, good purchase. For the actual ingredients, we're going to need 00 flour. This is so much better than regular flour. If you can't find it, all-purpose flour will work, but 00 is the way to go. We're going to need 2 eggs, some salt, just a little pinch, and a little dash of olive oil.
So, to get started, we're going to pour out just enough flour onto our table to create a well with a diameter of about 6 inches. Alternatively, you could do this in a baking pan if you don't want to get your table dirty, but it's not a problem for me. Make sure to add extra flour around the edges to build them up. You don't really need to measure this, it's kind of a feeling. You can always add more flour or take some away if you think that you need to do so. Once you've made a well, crack your 2 eggs into the center. Add a splash of olive oil and put a little pinch of salt into it. Now whisk the eggs together with a fork, and once it's mostly combined, begin tossing some of the flour around the edges into the mix. Continue whisking and adding flour until it's thick and combined. Now, using a bench scraper and your hands, combine all of the flour and egg mixture, creating kind of a rough dough. I recommend flouring your hands for these next few steps, that way the dough doesn't really stick to your hands and it doesn't create a huge mess. Begin mixing and kneading the dough with your hands. Feel free to add more flour if it's too wet and sticky. Continue kneading until the dough is smooth and elastic. This should take around 5 to 10 minutes, maybe a little more. We want to make sure that we don't over knead it. The trick to test it, to find out when it's done, is give it a press with your finger. If it springs back into place, then you know it's ready. Once it's ready, form your dough into a ball. Just kind of roll it around. That's what I find works best. Then, wrap it in plastic wrap and let it sit somewhere slightly warm and dry for 30 minutes. I just put mine on my table in the sunlight, let it be. Just make sure you set a timer and only 30 minutes. By letting the dough rest, we are developing the gluten within it, which allows for it to be stretched and form into noodles later on. Now that it is rested, we're going to begin the lamination process. Sounds kind of scary, but I'm certain you can all do it. It's not too hard. Separate your dough into 4 equally sized pieces. Keep one and rewrap the other 3. Place them in the fridge to avoid drying and developing a crust. Alright, lamination sounds kind of scary, but I'm certain you've all got it down. It's not too tricky, just follow these steps and you'll have some great tasting pasta. Grab your pasta machine and a rolling pin and prepare your arms for a workout. Flour your work surface and start rolling out your dough with your rolling pin and pasta machine, slowly decreasing the size on the machine. After every pass through the machine, make sure to fold your dough on top of itself and roll it out. This is called laminating. If you don't have a pasta machine, instead of running the dough through it, slowly apply more pressure with your rolling pin after every lamination cycle. If your dough gets too long to handle, you can just cut it in half and work with the smaller pieces. Once you have reached the smallest setting on your machine, or made it as thin as possible with your rolling pin, you're ready to cut it into your desired pasta type. The linguine is easy enough. Just feed it through the cutter, or lay it flat and cut it evenly with a knife. Now, lay out the cut pasta on a floured towel and get to work on the other 3 pieces. Make sure you leave the pieces you're not using in the fridge. We don't want to build that crust and make it kind of... To cook the pasta, we first need to set a pot of salted water to boil. This is gonna take a while, so let's skip some time. That's better. Place your pasta in the boiling water and let it cook for 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how you like your pasta. Just remember that fresh pasta cooks way faster than store-bought. The best way to know it's done is by tasting it. Once it's done cooking, strain the pasta into a sink. Return it to the pot and add some olive oil or butter to prevent it from sticking together.
And there we have it. Fresh pasta that is absolutely delicious. I hope you guys give it a try. It's super easy and the result is totally worth it. That's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a shot. I hope you learned something new. I'll see you guys in the next video.